Habargani.
Umoja.
Okay, so this might be some people's first Kwanzaa, so I gotta do a breakdown of some things some traditions that we have in our Kwanzaa program, or Kwanzaa in general. So every day there's a different principle that includes the Saba. And on the day every day we greet each other with this key Swahili phrase, Habargani, which means what's the news. Okay, so let's do that phrase first.
Habargani.
So that means what's the news. So whoever you are asking that question to, their response should be the principle of the day. And today's principle is Ujama. Ujama. Okay? Ujama. We got it? Habargani.
Ujama.
Habargani.
Ujama.
Okay, so there's another thing that we sometimes do. We haven't done it yet, but typically at the end of things, we say Harambe, which means let's pull together. So if you hear me say Harambe, it can be a chant. We say Harambe, but a lot of times we do this whole pull down thing.
It's a whole energy.
It's a whole
Harambe.
The key thing is every day you open up and instead of hello, you say Habargani, and then the person responds with the principle of the day. And today's principle is Ujama. Cooperative economics. And so in this, we have a lot of local business people who are presenting presentations. And today we have Coach Rob, and his presentation is Going Plant-Based Made Simple. Coach Rob has been a vegetarian for 15 years. He's from St. Louis, Missouri, and graduated from FAU with a BA in hospitality and management. He worked in corporate America before breaking into entrepreneurship to heal people. So I'm super excited for you to join us today, and I'm going to let him take it over.
Give thanks. I'm so honored to be here to speak to you all about making a transition to a plant-based lifestyle, because it's super important to me. It's my mission right now to help people break the generational curse of passing on bad eating habits. Most people think that a lot of the things that ail our people are hereditary when they're not. The only thing that's really hereditary is everybody in the family eat the same. So today we'll be talking about going plant-based made simple, going plant-based without giving up your sanity or flavor. A lot of people think that this lifestyle is hard. They think that when you go vegan or plant-based that the food is going to be bland, and it does not have to be. And today's presentation is going to tell you why you should make the switch, how you're currently living is impacting you, and then give you some simple tools to make the change and some mindset to get there. So what you'll learn today, like I said, why the way you're eating now is slowly killing you. And for some of us, even at a faster pace. And plant-based can be the solution to fix it. I've known several people to reverse different chronic illnesses by making it a lifestyle and not some diet that they want to follow. We're going to teach you how to shift your mindset so that you just make healthier actions and make healthier choices, because that's really what it comes down to, is that moment-to-moment choice. Everyone doesn't have to be healthy, but as long as the majority of them are, you're putting yourself on the right trajectory. Then we're going to talk about how you can actually make the changes stick so you see the improvements to your health. It's okay to change for a week or a day. However, you need that longevity, that consistency before you start to see the impacts in your health. And we're going to talk about how you can cook food that will taste good, because that's what most people really want to know, is how you going to get me to give up everything I love and give me this bland food? So we're going to make sure that your food tastes good so that you want to stick to it and you actually enjoy it and have that same relationship with food that you had with the unhealthy foods. And then 5 steps to make a healthy lifestyle simple for you. So why listen to me? And then gave you a brief. I was a vegetarian at 18 years old. I'm 41 now. However, in 2013, I lost my mom to cancer. That was huge for me. I'm the youngest of 4. I was the mama's boy, but not like that. So we were super close. That was my best friend, because there's 8 years between me and my next sibling. So when he went away to college, for a long time, it was just me and her. So we got really, really close. And when she passed, it hurt. Well, the next year, that little dude sitting over there was born. My firstborn son was born. And so knowing that my mom passed of cancer, my aunt passed of cancer, my mom had diabetes, she had heart attacks and strokes in her 40s, and I had him when I was 32. So I knew that I was predisposed to all of these different things. So me and my ex-wife looked at each other and said, we got to do something different. And we made the change to go vegetarian, well, not vegetarian, but vegan, cold turkey. And so in 2018, after a few years of being vegan, a coworker of mine came to me and said, Rob, I need help. My friend was 6'3", almost 300 pounds. He had a newborn baby that he couldn't get down in the floor to play with like he wanted to. So I created a program that helped him lose 30 pounds in 4 months. That's when the light bulb for me went off. This is what you're supposed to be doing. I left corporate America. Well, everything was going fine. And then life happens as it does. So I was blessed to have a wife that was a homemaker, so she did all the cooking. Well, when we divorced, guess who had to learn how to cook vegan? Because I didn't have to do none of it. So I had to go through that whole learning process all over again, as if I was at the very beginning, even though I was 5 years into the game. That's where a lot of me making it simple, because as an entrepreneur, a co-parenting dad who's homeschools, there wasn't a lot of time. So we had to figure out how to still make everything work. So both of them have been plant-based since birth. My oldest is 8, my youngest is 5, soon to be 6. And in the process, I've helped over 100 people start living a healthier life. So that's why probably I have a few things that you may be able to tuck away. So why eat plant-based in the beginning? The way you're eating right now, the standard American diet is killing you. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When you look at statistics, 6 out of the top 10 killers of adults in America are lifestyle illnesses. And you can add 7 if you add in the new one that took out a lot of people in the last few years. Because in a lot of the people that did not make it through that illness had pre-existing conditions. And so you can add 7 there. And the top 3 are heart attack, diabetes, stroke. So, and then if you add in Alzheimer's, that number keep going up. So and all of these have been tied to the food that is on the shelves and that is in the market. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 1 in 3 people are overweight or obese. Let that sink in. When you look around the room, when you look through your family, how many people are overweight or obese? And that is a pre-existing condition for everything else that typically ails the people that look like us, which leads to the last point there. People of color have a higher rate of both. When you look at the mortality rates, we are hit hardest by these. And it's several reasons. Food disparities, economic conditions. There are several reasons. However, we still have control over what we decide to put in our bodies. And they just make the unhealthy stuff so daggone easy. So they make it cheap and easy. Healthcare is a joke. How many people here have been on a medication for more than a year? How many people know somebody that's been on a medication for more than a year? The idea is for you to get better. Right. The medications that they give you don't help you get better. They treat the symptom. Well, I remember with gardening, if you got something going on, if you got a weed, if you just pull the leaves off the weed gonna keep growing. If you want to get rid of that weed, you got to dig down, pull it up whole root and stem. Well, that's what you have to do with these ailments that are happening on in your body, because it's a dis-ease. And you break that down, dis-ease. There's dis-ease in your body. So you have to figure out what that is. Prescription drug spending increased 3%. That seems like a small number, right? Well, when the total number is $348 billion in the US. Now, that may not be coming out of your pocket, but it's insurance. And how many do you pay for insurance? People don't think, oh, well, I don't pay for my medications, but how much you pay on insurance a month? $100 to $400 a month, depending on if you got a family or not. That's a pretty steep cost for you to still be sick. How do they call it healthcare when you're not getting better? When I found this stat, it really hurt, because it hits our people more and our women even more. 10% of all deaths in the US are due to medical error. Because they're doctors, they did go to school for a long time, but that's why they call it a medical practice. Yeah, true, they may have done it a few times, but they're still practicing. They don't have it all figured out. And most of the times, when you look at most doctors, they go to school for 7 years plus. They have to take 2 semesters of nutrition. Let that sink in. 2 semesters of nutrition. The thing that fuels your body, which leads to the disease, they only spend 2 semesters out of 7 years studying. So the Western approach to medicine is a pharmaceutical, something outside of you. Well, what's inside of you is telling you, hey, something's going on. Why mask it instead of going to figure out what that thing is? So healthcare has failed you. The plus side to all of this, now that we've done all the doom and gloom and you shock and you realize why you must do something different, there's hope. A plant-based lifestyle can help you change. You can improve your health. You can reverse illnesses. I'm not going to say it's a magic pill, but I've seen people reverse asthma, high blood pressure, diabetes, overweight, eczema, skin issues, all kind of different things through my walk. And last year I did an interview series where I interviewed over 52 different people that were vegan somewhere along their journey. And that's where I heard a lot of these stories. A friend who grew up with asthma, after being a couple years of plant-based, he no longer was asthmatic. Because asthma is typically an inflammatory issue with your lungs. Well, inflammation is caused by the foods that you eat typically. So if you reduce the inflammation, guess what your body has time to do? Heal. That's why you're going to have more energy. You're going to have better sleep. You're going to be able to have that clear mind. You know how you're always walking around like you're in a fog? Well, that's because of the food that you're eating. Those neural connections aren't able to connect like they want because there's something blocking it. You're going to be able to age in reverse. Like I told you, I'm 41 years old. Most people still think I'm in my early 30s. You're going to set a better example for others. That's bigger than anything on this list. Because each of us has been around people or children. They don't listen to what we say. They watch what we do. So if we're not setting an example for them, who will? The first step in making a change is the space between your ears. It's the mindset. You have to make a decision because everything you do, it's a decision. But when you make that decision, what frame are you looking through to make that decision? And so one thing that I want you to do right now, if you have a pen and paper or do it mentally, think back to what your core beliefs around food are. Oftentimes we grew up in households with food disparities. So no matter how small it was. So if it was on your plate, you was going to eat it. Sometimes you were already full. Well, that's one of the things that leads to overeating and an unhealthy relationship with foods. Right now, I do my best not to force my sons to eat certain things because I don't want to create that trauma. I do it because they need to eat. So don't look at me like that. But I do my best not to because I want them to have a better relationship to food than I did. Because I remember several nights sitting at the kitchen table till my butt was sore because I didn't want to eat my peas. And so these are the things that we have to look back and to look at that relationship with food or why we don't like vegetables. Well, because when we were younger, we were forced to eat them. Well, there was a reason why they were trying to get us to eat them. And then this is going to be the biggest thing that you can take away from this presentation. What is your why? Why do you want to be healthy? For me, it's so I can be the better father than what I had. I had my father in my life, but he was overweight, he was overworked, and he was older. He had me at an older age, so I didn't have him to play with, to get down on the floor, to run around. I grew up playing baseball. I never played catch with my dad once. I refuse to do that to my sons. So my why is big. I need to see my grandchildren. My mother didn't get to see hers or this set of them. So my why is huge. It's real easy for me to not eat pork, to not eat chicken, to not eat certain things that I know is going to lead to certain things because my why is big enough. So I implore you to find your why. Who is it that would be sad, that would be deathly hurt if you didn't wake up tomorrow? Let that sink in because it's not about you all the time. Because there's somebody waiting to have a conversation with you that may not get to have it. Now, you have to have a long-term focus. Oftentimes we in this microwave society now, excuse me, y'all. This is real for me. This is real for me. So I apologize. Or I encourage you to give me a few moments of grace. The next thing that you need to do to make this lifestyle stick is have a long-term focus. We live in a microwave society now. I grew up in the 80s. Everything was quick. TV dinners, McDonald's, drive-through, all of that good stuff. But that leads to us not sticking to the long term, because when we have a small failure, we give up. But if we have a longer vision, it's easier to pick up from that failure because it's not the end of the world. It's not I'm doing this thing for 6 months, so this one little downfall today knocks me off. If you're looking at the year, the 2 years, now it's easy. Often people are looking to lose weight. That's one of the things that they come to in my program. They want to lose 50 pounds in 3 months. They've been carrying 100 pounds around for the last 10 years. If you focus on making incremental changes that allow you to lose 1 pound a week, in a year, you just lost 52 pounds. In 2 years, you've done what you weren't able to do in 10 by taking and focusing on the long term and small incremental changes. Because in 2 years, if you messed up today, is that really a big deal? No, you get to wake up tomorrow, pick up where you left off, and keep rolling. Pain and pleasure. People do things for 2 reasons: to move away from pain or toward pleasure. More likely than not, we'll do more to avoid pain than we will to move toward pleasure. So you have to associate so much pain with the foods and the things that are hurting and that are taking life away from you when you eat them, so that you can add more pleasure. Look at how much more life you'll have, how much better parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, how much more active in your children or in the community you'll be able to be, because you have all this new energy, you have all this new vitality. And above all, you got to be compassionate with yourself. You've been doing whatever you've been doing for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. It is not a light switch. If you mess up, if you beat yourself up, guess what you're doing? You just like grandma, mama standing at the dishes. You ain't come in and wash them dishes like I told you to. Did that make you want to get up and go wash the dishes? No. However, they say, you know what? I know you had a long day. Come on, let's go do the dishes. When they stand there and talk to you while you do the dishes. Which approach is going to help you get those dishes done? Have self-compassion with you. Have that self-compassion. And this is something that we need to have for ourselves in every aspect of our lives. We are harder on ourselves than we are on anybody else. I'm pretty sure the things that you say to yourself, you would not say to somebody else that you care about. We have to change that. That comes with that self-compassion. Now, I told you that I was going to give you some ways to actually make the change. There's 2 approaches. The first is to get out of the fire. If you have a chronic illness, if you are overweight, if you are obese, if you are dealing with certain things, your house is literally on fire. You don't have time to run back in and grab the family photo album. And I reference the family photo album when people say, oh, I can't give up cheese, I can't give up chicken. That's like you equating, okay, I'm gonna run back in the house and grab the family photo album, even though the whole door is engulfed in flames. Are you necessarily gonna make it back out? Because you never know which meal is the meal that could be the meal. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not gonna say it's easy. Going cold veggie is harder to adjust. Your microbes in your gut are going to be craving what it craves. You're going to have some attitude, some hunger pains occasionally, because you may not know what to do right out the gate. Well, that's where you get help. Now, the second approach is for those whose house isn't on fire. You can take the piece-by-piece approach. If you don't have immediate health concerns, you can take time. Set a week where you'll give up all meat. Set a next week where you'll give up all dairy products. Set another week where you'll give up all the processed foods. Set another week where you give up all the liquid calories and the sugars and all of that stuff. It doesn't have to be overnight, but if your house is on fire, it should be. When you go the piece-by-piece route, it's going to take you more time to see the health benefits because you're still putting those inflammatory foods in your body. But it is a little bit more manageable because it allows you to adjust each week and get rid of those things and find replacements for some of those favorite foods versus throwing yourself, out of the fire and into the, out of the frying pan and into the fire. Now you're just kind of reaching and figuring out things on your own, but that's where getting guidance will help. Now, most of you are probably already plant-based, didn't even know it. When you look at your plate, I want you to think about it. Picture your plate right now. I can almost guarantee, I bet you $100 that 2/3 of your plate is plant-based. Your rice, your grains, your veggies, sauces, all that stuff. The seasonings that you put on your meat. Do you eat fruit of any kind? That's plant-based. Eat nuts and seeds? That's plant-based. Eat oatmeal, eat rice, quinoa, plant-based. French fries, anybody? I know I got two French fry lovers right up here. That's plant-based. Most of your breads, your noodles, hummus, falafel, chips, guac. Anybody like guac? Like salsa? All that stuff is plant-based already. So 75% of what you're eating right now is probably already plant-based. Now, what's not are these foods that are causing you inflammation and mucus. Do you enjoy them aches and your pains in your knees, elbows, wrists, upper back, especially us men, that upper back area, that bloating, that belly area? That's inflammation. That waking up in the middle of the night, head just stopped up, can't breathe when you first wake up in the morning, that's mucus. Most of these things are caused by the foods that you're eating. Foods that cause inflammation include refined carbs. Now, there's a key thing that I'm going to say there. Refined, processed, heavily processed, overly processed carbs. Carbs have gotten a bad rap, my friend. Guess what are carbs? Potatoes are carbs. Every fruit that you can think of is a carb. Every grain of rice, every oatmeal, that's a carb. However, those carbs still have the fiber intact. And carbs are the body's favorite source of energy. So why vilify carbs? Now, when you process carbs, you take the fiber out, you take the nutrients out, and all you leave is the glucose, the sugar. That's why refined carbs are a problem. Added sugars, because typically they refine the carbs and then add more sugars to it. Dairy is high in saturated fat, also high in antibiotics. You got fried foods, because the foods are fried in vegetable oil. Vegetable oil gets rancid once you heat it up. That causes free radicals in your body. So let me take a step back. What is inflammation? Inflammation is actually not a bad thing. Acute inflammation is your body's response trying to help you heal. It's saying there's a foreign invader here. Let's send some white blood cells over there to fight it. What happens is we become chronically inflamed because we constantly eat food. So our body constantly has free radicals. So it's constantly sending out the blood cells. So it creates the inflammation because now it's just constantly there. Because think about it, when you cut yourself or you have a little bruise, it swells. That's inflammation coming to help you heal that area. Well, if you're constantly in a healing mode, just like if you're constantly in fight or flight, that overstresses the body. What else causes it? Fried food, soda. Soda is nothing but liquid calories. It's sugar, a little bit of water, and some food coloring. Processed meats. Processed meats are on the carcinogenic list. If you don't know what carcinogenics are, these are the things in the ecosystem that they have deemed to be cancerous. They have directly tied to cancer. Processed meats are on that list. Red meats also cause inflammation and mucus. When you eat red meat, it causes this thing called uric acid in your body, which overworks your kidneys and your liver. Growing evidence shows a close link between inflammation, chronic health conditions, including diabetes, metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular disease, cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, IBS for most of us that have irritable bowel syndrome, asthma, and chronic obstructive lung disease. Anybody up there know somebody suffering from anything off that list? Now, when I say cardiovascular disease, let me be more specific. Heart attack, stroke, heart disease, anything along those lines. When we talk about metabolic syndromes, now we're talking about our autoimmune diseases. Oftentimes, the autoimmune disease that we have, sometimes say lupus, for instance, it's something that is passed on genetically, but it's triggered by something in your environment. Most people go through their life without lupus until something triggers it. So it's the foods, it's the environment. And I say the foods, we bring chemicals into our house every day. The body washes, the soaps, the hair products, cleaning chemicals, dark soap washes, laundry, all of these things put a chemical load on our body, which is why we need to detox.
What is that in the underwriting one?
Which?
Yeah, that looks like olives.
That I am not sure what exactly that is. I think that there's probably olives that looked like it was kind of like a cheese plate. That just was one of the things that was in the graphic. But that mostly it had the processed meats, it had the cheese, it had the dairy and the fish. Because most people are like, oh, well, can I eat my fish? Well, you can if you like, but I advise you not to, because most of the fish that you're going to get in the supermarkets today are factory farmed. Well, when they're factory farmed, guess what they have to do? They have to pump a lot of antibiotics into it to keep them safe, because they're in pens where fish are meant to roam free. So there's a lot of disease. It takes a half a pound of antibiotics to create 1 pound of meat. I'm not even going to talk about what they feeding them, the GMO corn. I'm just going to talk about the antibiotic side of it. And then you talk about, oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Our oceans and rivers are overfished. We have the many oil and toxic waste dumps that have hit the ocean, and that gets absorbed into the ecosystem. And then let's take salmon, for instance. I was just looking at a study where they are taking salmon and they're kind of growing them in the river, but they're not moving upstream. And the reason that your salmon is pink now is because of something that they injected in it, not because of what they ate. So and I say big industry in general, because it's about a profit. We live in America. Everything is about a bottom line and a profit share. Big industry does not care about your health. They care about their bottom line. And so they're going to do whatever they need to do to the ecosystem or to you to allow them to make that profit. But you don't have to stay there. Let's get to the next part. How do you cook delicious food then? Because you just said that I got to give up everything that I love, Coach. What can I eat? No, I need you to think about it. And everything that you eat, the meat that you eat, I don't care whether it's a turkey, a chicken, a goat, a cow, a pig. You're not finna take that piece of meat, wash it off, because I know you're going to wash your meat first, and then just throw it in the skillet, throw it in the oven, or drop it in the pot to boil. What you gonna do this? You finna go up in this cabinet, you finna grab them seasonings, and mostly you probably getting ready to add something and then throw it in there and let it marinate overnight. Well, what did you just season that thing with? A bunch of dry plants. So what really tastes good? Is it the meat or the seasonings? Because I can guarantee ain't nobody in here throwing no bald head chicken in the fryer. So if you take that same approach, give that same love, take those same seasonings, that same flavor that you're used to, start playing with your different vegetables. Find vegetables that have a texture of meat. That's why you hear everybody talking about mushrooms right now. Lion's mane mushroom and oyster mushroom. Because when you cook it, it has that texture that like a tendon. So it's like, yeah. Does it taste like meat? No. But it's flavored like meat. So my fried oyster mushroom tastes like fried chicken. Does it taste just like fried chicken? No. But is it seasoned? Yep, because I use my same little Cajun seasoning that I would 15 years ago. It's the seasoning. It's the love. Well, you say, Coach, I need some recipes. Go online. I'm not the first one to do this. Luckily for you, it's not 10 years ago. It's not 15 years ago where they didn't have the Daias and all of these different products, because it's become a new profit thing. However, there are tons of bloggers. There are tons of people that go out and create recipes and share it for free. So all you have to do is Google your favorite dish, vegan, and then put vegan behind it. And I bet you somebody has a recipe for it already. And I can almost guarantee you it's free. And if not, what's $2, $10 for a recipe book? Because you're investing in your health at the end of the day. You're not buying a recipe book. You're investing in your health. Again, remember that framework that I told you about shifting for making decisions? That's one of those frameworks right there. Is because you'll go in a heartbeat and go to McDonald's and spend $15, $20, but $10 will give you the ability to feed your entire family healthier food. $15. Even if it's an ebook, now you got it and you can send it to anybody else you want after you didn't pay for it. Send it to her. I'm not advising you to mess with people's stuff, but you could. Make your favorite foods plant-based substitutes. Now, we talked about chicken because I know that everybody love the Yardbird. So find your favorite dish. And like I said, put it into Google and put vegan behind it. Find a way to make your favorite dishes plant-based, because that's the only way you're going to stay, is if your food tastes good. And most of the times those favorite dishes, especially being down here in South Florida, they're cultural dishes, so you don't want to give them up. Sunny, that's going to be doing the food demonstration earlier, she makes a vegan oxtail that will make you think you eat an oxtail. You know how oxtail has the little fat around it to help everything stay together? She uses rice paper to create that same texture. Because she's Caribbean, her father created oxtails, and she wanted to have that memory, have that connection with her father. So again, you can create those same memories, these same traditions that we have around food, but doing it without passing on the diabetes, the high blood pressure. One of the most ironic movies to me ever was Soul Food. That was the most ironic movie ever to me. Literally, Big Mama been cooking y'all this food forever. She has arthritis. She has to go to the hospital. She does not come home from the hospital. And what do y'all do to celebrate? You cook the same foods. We have to do something different. You can cook similar foods in a healthier way. I'm not trying to take your life away from you. I want to give it to you because I'm sure there's somebody that wants to have you around for another 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 years, 2 months, daggone 2 decades. And it all comes down to the choices that you make today. That's the presentation. Vegan versus plant-based. No, it's not. Wait, vegan versus plant-based. Let's talk about that real quick. I forgot that was even in there. Vegan, just because something's vegan, don't mean it's healthy. Don't get it twisted. Vegan only means that there is no animal product in it. It does not mean that they didn't put extra unhealthy products, because if you see that over there, everything in that list is vegan. Oreos are vegan. I'm not finna eat them, no. Swedish Fish, Red Vines, Twizzlers, vegan. But that red number 40, I don't think I want to be consuming it.
Can you tell them why they want to avoid red 40?
Red 40 is an endocrine inhibitor. Endocrine is those things that send signals from your brain to the rest of your body. And if that's inhibited, inhibit means to block.
Right.
Now your body ain't doing what it needs to.
As a teacher, I hate any of the red Takis, all that kind of stuff. They eat them, they can't think.
Right.
And then we wonder why our children aren't able to function in school. First thing we give them when they wake up is a box full of cereal. Box full of sugar, which is processed quickly in the body. And then we give it to them with some mucus, with some mucus causing on top. So now by noon, they first get to school, they like this. They can't think straight. They bouncing off the wall. Teacher got to calm down. By noon, they like this. Now you pump them up with some more sugar, or you give them some pizza. You know what I'm saying? Something else. By now they like this. They moving around. They can't think of nothing what's going on. So yes, highly processed ingredients full of added sugars and oils. The reason why the vegan processed foods are typically unhealthy for you is they have a lot of the added vegetable oils. They add a lot of sugars because guess what makes food taste good? Fat and sugar. Also salt. Don't get it twisted. A lot of those vegan processed foods are high in sodium, which leads to the high blood pressure issues. So just because it's plant-based doesn't mean it's vegan. Just because it's vegan doesn't mean that it's healthy. Now, plant-based, on the other hand, the difference between vegan and plant-based, somebody that lives a plant-based lifestyle looks to get the majority of their nutrients from a whole food source. What do you mean a whole food source? I love that question because I use the potato every time as my example. You can go eat a baked potato. How many baked potatoes can you eat before you get full? 1 or 2, right? How many dollar bag of chips can you eat before you get full?
17.
You can eat a whole box of those before you get full. How many calories are in a potato? 150, 200 calories maybe. So eating 2 potatoes, you just ate 300 calories. That individual dollar bag of chips is typically 250 to 350 calories by itself. Why is that? Because of all the added sugar and oil that they put into it. Doritos. Now, how did they make that? They took that same baked potato that you ate. They dried it out. They broke it down to dust. They added a bunch of other stuff into it, put it into a little machine, spit it out through a vat, add some colors, this and that, and now you got a bag of Doritos. So that's the difference between eating something as a whole food source, a potato, and turning it into something that's highly processed over here, your Doritos. Now, cooked chips, they're somewhere in the middle because you just slice that potato real thin, put a little oil on it, throw it in the oven. Am I going to eat those? Yes, indeed, because I'm not telling you not to eat chips. I'm telling you to find something that's healthier on the spectrum. Again, I don't want to take away the food that you enjoy. I just want you to make a healthier choice when choosing those foods. So do we eat chips right now as a snack for my children? In that bag right now are some kettle cooked chips. But those kettle cooked chips were cooked with avocado oil, because you should not be cooking with any kind of oil than grapeseed oil or avocado oil, because when you heat those other oils up, they become rancid. What does rancid mean? Spoiled. Close to their original form, high in vital nutrients, low in calorie. We just gave you the example of the potato again. 300 calories eating 2 potatoes versus 300 calories in a single dollar bag of potato chips. High in nutrient value. Talked about high blood pressure before. The reason that your body gets high blood pressure is your blood is low in nutrients. And so your body pumps the volume up trying to access more nutrients that it doesn't have. So you need to eat nutrient-rich foods. You do that by eating foods as close to their original form, because all of those nutrients are still there. When you process foods, that's why it's processed, and they add those enriched nutrients. That's why you see enriched flour, because they stripped all the nutrients, they had to put something back. Healthy fats and sugars. Sugar is not a problem. Your body actually needs sugar. It's your body's favorite source of energy. There's sugar, there's fat, there's protein. Only sources of energy for your body. The favorite source is sugar, because it's easily accessible and broke down into energy. The problem is when that sugar doesn't have fiber, it causes an insulin spike, because now all of that sugar is just dumped into your blood instead of it slowly releasing into your blood. And people say, well, how does the fiber help? Well, fiber isn't broken down by when we eat. Fiber is broken down because it's eaten by our gut microbe. And as the gut microbe eats it and breaks it down, now it can release that glucose at a slower pace than eating something that's just pure sugar. And now that just, the body says, oh, instant energy. And now it has excess, and that excess energy that isn't used, guess what it turns it into? Fat. So the healthy fats on the opposite hand, they actually block and start to sweep out the unhealthy fat. So how do you stay consistent? I just told you all of these different things about life and how you can change it. I live my life 80-20. 80% whole food, plant-based, 20% junk food, vegan. I'm going to eat my vegan cookies, but I'm going to go get them from Whole Foods so I can read the ingredients and know everything that's in it. I'm going to eat my vegan ice cream, my just eggs. Occasionally, I'll have a Beyond Meat sausage. However, I'm not here to restrict you. I don't want you to feel restricted, because that's when people buck the system. So the way that you do that is you give yourself that grace, that compassion to have something that's not whole foods. However, making sure that you're leaning more towards that whole food. And if your house is on fire, like I talked about before, you probably want to do a little bit less than somebody who's not. To give you an example, I had a friend who went vegan. She lost over 100 pounds in the last year by just going vegan. And I'm saying vegan, not plant-based. So there's a spectrum. It's not so rigid. Don't make it rigid, because that's when it's hard to stick to. Make foods you enjoy. Go back to the previous slide where you're finding your favorite foods. Pin them. Pinterest, for my people who love Pinterest. Pinterest, Instagram, all of these are great sources to get tons of recipes. Make it fun to try new foods. I've been vegan for 8 years. I still try new fruit. I still find new fruits and vegetables. I just had my first my first sweet sop this year. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, y'all. So like these Caribbean foods I'm not used to. So I just had my first sweet sop. So there's so many different foods for you to explore. There are over 10,000 edible plants on this planet, but most of us stick to 5. So when you look at it, which diet is restrictive? Eating those same 5 things all over the time, or having this big variety of foods over here that now you get to enjoy because you're not just focused on eating these 5. Keep staple foods for a quick meal. Quinoa, dry beans or canned beans, frozen vegetables. Like I said, quick. Take them frozen vegetables out, throw it in the skillet, a little bit of vegetable broth, your favorite seasonings, flip them, you're good. Quinoa done in 20 minutes. You got a meal. Be okay with not being perfect. That's that 80-20 rule. That's that self-compassion, because you're going to mess up. Perfect example. 2, maybe 3 years ago, my sister came down here with a rum cake that she made using my mom's recipe. Egg milk is a part of that recipe. Guess what I did? I had a slice of rum cake. Did I eat a bunch of rum cake? No, but I had a slice because I was going to allow myself to have that moment with my mom again. Get help if you need it. As adults, we don't like to ask for help. We think we got it. We'll figure it out on our own. This stuff is not easy, but it can be simple when you have the right tools, when you have the right support. So get it. There's free help. There's tons of YouTube content, Instagram content, or there's people like me where you can hire a coach and cut your learning curve in half. So I have a bundle. If you want to learn about it, come find out. In the last little bit of time, I'll answer any questions of the room. Or online, because we got probably about 5. So now I'm done. Any questions? Oh, yeah, I'll come back and talk about the bundle. And for anybody who wants to talk about the bundle, I will be vending afterwards, or I was trying not to do a shameless plug. I want to make sure that I give you all information. Okay, so perfect. Today is the day. Yes, let me walk in my power. So to help everybody out with this, I created a bundle that of the services and products that I have to help people make it simple. The first thing in the bundle is a one-on-one health consultation where we created a health plan that's for you in your lifestyle. We spend an hour going through how you eat now and how you can make it yours, because most of us live different worlds. Some of us live corporate, some of us live home lives. The second part of the bundle is my 14-day herbal cleanse. The herbal cleanse is 7 different herbal blends that I put together to cleanse your kidney, liver, lungs, large intestines, and then 2 whole body blends to clean everything in between. It comes with a 14-day plant-based meal plan because there's no need in getting rid of the toxins if you're going to keep eating it. So I give you a simple meal plan to follow, along with instructional videos on how to prepare your teas, do deep breathing exercises to help detoxify your lungs and your body in general, because the more oxygen you have, the better your body is able to function and do its job, and some videos on moving to get the lymph going. Also, because once you make this change, you're going to feel so good, you're going to keep up with it. So I added my mini course, Going Plant-Based Made Simple, taking a lot of the things that I've learned over the last 8 years and distilled down into bite-sized videos for you to be able to consume and get the information you need. That comes with a ton of other things as well, like how to avoid and overcome those 5 common mistakes that most people make. That way, you see the pothole, I have stepped in it already, you read it, now you get to walk around it. And I know everybody is going to want to eat something that they enjoy. So I added my Southern Dinner Made Vegan. I'm from St. Louis, y'all. Like I said, I did not grow up eating vegan. I grew up eating mac and cheese, ribs. Like my father had 4 grills at the house. 4. So I'm not talking to y'all from some place of not knowing. So I created some of my favorite meals. My mac and cheese is my sister's mac and cheese recipe that I made vegan. Is it vegan, yes, it is not plant-based. It has 4 different cheeses in it, plus the cheese that you make your own. So it is foods that you can enjoy, because now that you've done all of this work, you might as well reward yourself, because I want you to be comfortable. There's also added, not on this slide, because I know most people need to get moving along with it, there is a 9-week ab program to help you strengthen your core. There is a juice manual coming soon for it. The program is normally, if you got all those separately, it'd be $610. You can do the entire bundle for only $337. And everything is sent to you electronically except for your teas. If you're here, you can pick them up from me. If you are online and you order them, they're shipped 2-day shipping. So that's the bundle. Any questions about the bundle or the plant-based lifestyle?
Are you okay with eating eggs?
Me, no. The reason being, eggs are high in cholesterol and fat. And I will not eat anything that had a mother or eyes. And it all goes back to, if it's those unhealthy fats, those unhealthy foods, because I was just reading something not too long ago. They cannot even advertise eggs as healthy. The FDA has said that they can literally not put healthy in the same advertisement as eggs. That's why you see part of a balanced breakfast. It's little things like that. They can't say it's healthy. They can't say it's good for you, because they know that it's not. A grain substitute that is not quinoa. You can do couscous. Are you gluten? You can do bulgur wheat. You can do black rice, wild rice. What are some of the other options? Yeah, so those are some of my go-tos without quinoa. But I'm a huge quinoa fan. Even the tricolor quinoa. Wow, because it's the seed. So even when you sprout it. Okay. Dig it. Perfect. Any other questions? Please don't be shy. Use me as your resource.
Bulgur wheat is another one that can be nice.
Fonio is a good one. That's one that I haven't used as often, but that is a traditional one.
If you don't like quinoa, though, she might not like it.
Well, it's not that she doesn't like it. She's allergic to quinoa. Yeah, because I ran into somebody recently that was that had gallbladder issues because of the seeds in strawberries. So it's crazy little things that can happen when you're really not in tune and paying attention to your body. But once you start to eat this way, you will start to feel your body in a way that you've never felt it before, because you're going to be reconnected. All of the things that are blocking the pathways will be unblocked. So I appreciate you all joining me in person, joining me online, to let you all know how simple you can make living healthy. Follow me at Coach Robert Moore on any platform. Coach Robert Moore, 2 O's. Easy to find, easy to contact. I'm a real person, y'all. Come talk to me. Thank you. Sparkling water